quitarnos todo ese estrés, esa preocupación y podernos enfocar en nuestra hija.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When St. Jude told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow, they pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home walk restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet. Fingerling. Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
Okay, Simon, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. And what do people normally wear?
Clothes.
Exactly. So now Mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Clothes keep us warm, they look good, and if we go out without them, the neighbors will talk. So it's important to know how to get dressed. Here's how it's done. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole, or you have to start all over. If you're wearing a tie, it goes over, round, through, and pull tight. Tuck your shirt into your pants and zip up your fly. Socks going first, then shoes right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops. The rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears.
I love bunnies.
Good to know. Now remember, spots don't go with stripes, socks don't go with sandals, and if you've tucked in your shirt, wear a belt. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But spending just 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier and could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. For fun 2-minute videos to watch while brushing, visit 2min2x.org. That's 2min2x.org. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives and the Ad Council.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Getting support from friends online kept me on track.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
Instead of smoking after I ate, I'd get up and take a walk.
I missed having a cigarette in my hand, so I'd hold a pen or a straw, anything.
Until I knew I wouldn't give in to temptation, I spent more time with my friends who didn't smoke.
I went to places that were smoke-free.
I didn't stay quit the very first time I tried.
I kept on trying, and I learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
I quit.
I quit.
I quit.
We did it, so can you.
You can quit. For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzz driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You could kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Harrison Smith. You may know me from my work as Scuba, one of the hosts of the hit award-winning show Nerdcore on Weagle 91.1 FM. But what you may not know about me is that I'm a website enthusiast. That's why I'm here to tell you about WeagleFM.com. It's our hotspot on the web with live broadcast articles and more. It's like a gift that keeps on giving. Tune into your favorite shows at any time with a 24/7 online stream right on the homepage. And don't forget to check out the schedule for our station's full selection of music, sports, and talk shows. For the sports fans, there's articles aplenty covering all of the current events in football, basketball, and beyond. For those music fans, Weagle FM has got you covered. We have album and concert reviews and theme playlists for any mood. We even have live musical performances with Weagle Sessions. There's more than enough content here to keep you procrastinated when you really should be studying for that test. That's right, we know you've been slacking off. Get back to it, lazy. So, no matter what sound you're looking for, we've got it only on WeagleFM.com. That's WeaglFM.com and Weagle 91.1 FM, Auburn.
Selfless service is the guiding principle that drives Army National Guard soldiers to be always ready whenever disaster strikes. Every Army National Guard member serves not only to protect the nation, but also their local communities, so they each have a stake in the security and well-being of the neighborhoods where they live and work. They are your next-door neighbors and your colleagues in schools, offices, and factories. Since the early days of our republic, the Army National Guard has continued its timeless commitment to guarantee peace and security for all Americans, a proud legacy which has endured for nearly 4 centuries. To be a Guard soldier is to stand ready to serve at all times for family, for community, and for country. Selfless service, it's what inspires the men and women of the Army National Guard to be part of something greater than themselves. To learn more, log on to NationalGuard.com or contact an Army National Guard recruiter in your area. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Green, green, green. You got to make it green. It's your home, it's your dream. It's your dream. Green on tested, living healthy and clean. Make it green, green, green. Green, green, green.
Making it green is making sure the air in your home is healthy for your family to breathe. Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN. Preserve your family's health and well-being. Get your home tested. That's living healthy and green.
Green, green, green. Make it green. It's your home, it's your dream. It's your dream.
Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN.
A message from the U.S. EPA.
Unexpected reactions to smart financial decisions brought to you by feedthepig.org.
Well, I finally did it. I improved my credit score.
You're kidding, right?
No.
How are we supposed to be the bad boys of electro-synth pop if you're out there being responsible? The band is about to be discovered. This is our year.
Yeah, you've been saying that for a while now.
You think anyone in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was worried about their credit score?
I never really thought that.
Of course they weren't. Rock stars aren't supposed to think about that kind of stuff. We're supposed to think about how many guitars we've smashed, write aggressively sensitive power ballads, start questionable fashion trends, tragically break up and blame creative differences.
All right. I thought maybe it was time to take control of my finances, you know? Start using a budget, get out of debt, set some goals.
A budget? Debt? Set some goals? Listen, I knew that we'd have our creative differences, but I was hoping they'd involve a little more scandal.
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. I help people solve difficult and trying personal problems every day on my TV show, but there's one problem that's just got me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. That's 1 in 5 kids who may not know where their next meal is coming from, despite the fact that there's more than enough healthy, nutritious food out there to feed them all. Now, I don't know about you, but that is unacceptable to me. Luckily, the Feeding America network of good people is out there collecting surplus food and giving hope to hungry children and their families at local food banks all across the country. But let's face it, they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
The following is a production of WEGL 91.1 FM.
That ball is gone! It's a home run! It's a walk-off home run for Stephen Williams!
WEGL Sports,
The Tigers are headed to the College World Series!
where every
The Tigers are SEC Tournament champions!
game
There goes Davis! Oh my God! Davis is going to run it all the way back!
lives. It's now time for the Extra Point. Auburn's best sports talk personalities on Auburn's best station.
We the North are now we the champions. The Raptors, the 2019 NBA champs.
Auburn's most watched sports TV show, Auburn's best sports talk radio show.
Lillard, long range three, and it's good! At the buzzer! Damian Lillard! Are you kidding me?
Call in at 334-844-9345 to join the debate.
Oh my God! Deep to right field, way up there, and way out of here! Second deck walk-off home run! Grand slam, Bryce Harper!
Lock in. The Extra Point starts now on WEGL Radio and Eagle Eye TV, presented by WEGL Sports, where every game lives.
Here we come. Yeah, here we come. Hey, here we come. Hey, here we come. Here we come.
Another day up, another day gone. Welcome back inside the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. Joining me in the studio is Carter Bird, Aiden Kowalski, and Jack Hart. As we have a wild one for you today after yesterday's show. Anything's possible at this point. As a lot of news coming through in the world of sports. We'll be starting off this show talking about Auburn and Tulane before we look into SEC football down the road. But with that being said, this is the crew that picks the Thursday pick'ems with the Plainsmen. We are currently one game back of
Whose fault's that?
No
Jack.
comment.
Oh, okay.
So we had to do
So everybody went 5-1, and then Jack went 3-3
Yeah.
for our listeners.
So we had to do a little finagling with the standings. The Plainsmen taking their top three. We're gonna take our top three.
Jack's in the cellar right now.
And Jack is in the cellar, which we have to come up with some sort of punishment for whoever finishes in the cellar
That's
at
fun.
the end of the season.
I like that.
So
At the end of
Is
the
this-
season? Oh wait, or
is
can
this
we
for
do
legal?
a minor punishment every week, and then a big one for whoever comes in last overall?
Well, see, here's the thing. Jack may be in the cellar for a couple weeks because he's 2 games back of everybody else. You see what I'm saying?
I mean, do it on a week by week basis, but then just keep tally on the big one until the end.
Let's just wait. We'll just wait till the end.
Now, are you
That-
talking about like a per person thing? So it's not Eagle Eye does their punishment, we do our punishment if we lose. It's solely the fact that whoever's the worst in this studio right now.
Yes.
Okay.
So Jack is in the cellar right now
It's week 1.
for us.
In good company. After week 1.
Yeah. I mean, you're by yourself.
That's what I mean.
So
he's a lone wolf.
Taking a look at the games that we did pick last week. I mean, I don't think we did bad per se. I think the one glaring oopsies that a lot of us had was South Carolina.
Well, yeah, because they played a team that won 2 games the year before with a coach that hasn't coached in a college game in 10 years in his first season back at his school that he was at before Texas, and I think his alma mater. And then you have South Carolina, who's returning a senior quarterback, and according to their own head coach, has the most talent of any team he's had. And then they come out and lay a brutal egg. Jake Bentley throws 2 horrendous interceptions in the fourth quarter, and then now he's on the shelf indefinitely.
Is the one that we all struggle with. There were some surprising games out there. The big one being Boise State beating Florida State. That was the big one. And then the split we had, Ole Miss and Memphis. Memphis getting the big win over Ole Miss. And that kind of just puts us where we're at now as we try to get ready for what's going on this week. Big thing is Auburn's playing Tulane. Depending on who you are, people like Tulane as a G5, I guess, dark horse right now. I think that would be the perfect example for Tulane. They're not a powerhouse, but they're a dark horse because they look to be a decent team.
And in Gus Malzahn's own words, he thinks it's probably the best Group of 5 team Auburn's played in his tenure at Auburn. So keep in mind that we almost lost to Mercer at one point, and then
that's not the one I'm thinking about.
Who are you thinking of?
UCF.
Oh yeah, forgot about that one.
Let us not forget that we started the whole kerfuffle that ended up happening.
So with this, yeah, we did, and I think this Tulane team, people are just going to think, oh, Tulane's typically bad at football. Tulane typically doesn't do
Hey, we're talking about
much.
Former SEC power Tulane.
Yeah, SEC power is a stretch, although they do lead the series against Auburn.
Former SEC power Tulane.
There was a pretty sick 3-year stretch from like 1936 to 38 where the Auburn-Tulane game 3 consecutive years ended in a 0-0 tie. But that's a pretty fun fact there.
Has Tulane ever beaten Auburn wearing not leather helmets? Is that what we're seeing here?
Well, they beat us in 95.
Okay. Question answered.
So was that the last time they beat us?
That was their last time. The last time they played Auburn as a member of the SEC, and they beat Auburn.
In 95.
Yes.
So that means that was 23 years ago. Same year that I was born. Was Tulane in the SEC in 95?
That sounds like crazy talk to
Yeah,
me.
wait a minute. Everybody back up. Tulane was in the SEC in 95?
I think so.
No.
There's no way.
No.
No. Everybody fact check that for a second.
I'm on it.
That seems kind of crazy.
All right, Winsipedia. Let's see what they say about it.
They may have played us the last time in 95. But Tulane, I thought Tulane left in like the 70s or 60s.
I think it was way before that.
Or the 40s, World War II.
Yeah, now you're getting to it.
Great. Now we're in a standstill right now. We're trying to figure out this information.
I'm going to keep talking. Here
I think
I am.
I misread the number. That's on me. It was 55.
Tulane left in 1966.
Yeah, it's only 40 years.
Okay,
that's
so
the last
no big
time.
deal.
That's the last time that they had played before 06. I misread the number. That's on me.
That's still impressive.
So 55.
55 was the last time Auburn and Tulane played as a member of the SEC, and Auburn lost.
And then
27-13.
Tulane became an independent in 1966, was when they left the SEC.
And the last time Auburn played Tulane,
2006.
That was 51 years between games.
So, and who won that game? I believe it was Auburn.
Auburn won 38-13. Brandon Cox playing quarterback. Just
don't remind me.
Throwing it around the yard, beating Alabama 6 times, and good stuff.
Beating Florida that year as well.
Yeah,
and
that
beating
was
Florida the next year too.
That was the
losing to USF the next year also.
Yeah, that was, I believe, 06
and Georgia
was
Tech
the,
somewhere in there too.
Was that the no?
2007 was the greatest college football season of all time when all the number ones lost in a row. That's what you're thinking of.
Oh yeah, where that was also when Kansas was like
when Kansas and Missouri played for the de facto national championship.
So how is it that Tulane didn't leave the SEC until 66? But they didn't play for 11 years, and the SEC at that point,
I mean,
probably wasn't even 12 teams big.
Scheduling, because scheduling is stupid no matter what decade we're in.
That is true.
Yeah.
This ain't 2019 where it's 12 years in between Florida and Auburn because you're changing around divisions.
Yeah, it's even worse. It's
adding teams and all that good.
It's even worse.
Stuff.
It's 1955, 10 years after World War II ended.
It's 2 years before Auburn wins a national championship.
That's all I'm saying.
Are they directly correlated? Was Tulane the stopping block for that Auburn national championship?
And then when we played Tulane last, it was
All right,
4 years before winning a national
Everybody time
championship.
out. Let's just get back on topic for a
Tulane
second.
shows the future
Mark
that
your
we're going to win a
calendars,
championship.
folks. 2024.
If we're going up by 2 in 6 years, Auburn's going to win a national championship.
Oh, let's just get back on topic
That's your
right now.
Auburn football stat of a day.
Auburn plays Tulane this Saturday. First home game for the Tigers, as I assume a lot of us will be in attendance, maybe.
Tulane's very experienced, and it's going to be a tough one. And they have a very talented transfer quarterback from LSU. Fun fact.
So for this Tulane team, being a G5, what's so funny, Carter?
Just denied him of any
Okay, I mean,
of his comment. It was there, and then okay, next point.
You threw out the fact LSU quarterback. And I was going to go into another kind of discussion about Tulane.
Okay.
Well,
Hey,
guys,
I'm here for you, bud.
Smooth transitions.
Do
Come
not
on.
backseat me on this show. All right, let me
Best
drive.
first segment of the year.
Yeah,
right
let me drive here. All right, Tulane. They were very run heavy against FIU. They got over 300, I believe, 345 yards on the ground against FIU. Very run heavy. If they're going to beat Auburn, they either got to figure out how to pass, or they're going to figure out that they have some first and second round picks on the offensive line. Which one's going to happen?
So, I think what's going to happen is Tulane showed up last week against FIU, an FIU team that, in their own minds, thinks that they could win 10 games this year and build off their 9-win season a year before. Tulane showed up and just completely crushed them, 42-14, and yes, it was by running the ball. Keep in mind that Auburn's coming off an emotional win, a very emotional win, a huge win. Auburn may not mentally be as checked in as you would if you're playing Tulane's season opener in game 1 at home. And keep in mind that Rodney Garner's going to want to develop depth on that D-line, so you may not have the starters out there as frequently as you would your typical first game of the year.
Tell me why you don't think it would be as special coming back for your first home game after that big win, though.
Because when you come off a big emotional win like that, it's easy to kind of let your guard down the following week.
It is, but now you're coming home for the first time in front of a packed Jordan-Hare.
I mean, couldn't we use the same example for Jacksonville State all those years ago? And we know how that almost went.
No, we can't use that example because Jeremy Johnson was the quarterback. And that was a 31-0 blown lead that almost led to a loss, not a last-second touchdown.
I'm just saying, what was that the home opener for that year? I believe
Yes,
it was.
it was.
Yeah, because we played Louisville.
And then the next week we went to LSU and got shellacked.
And Louisville found Lamar Jackson in the second half, and he just ran wild on our defense in that comeback.
Exactly.
Because I want to say, like, Reggie Bonifant, who they moved to, like, receiver the next week, started the game against us or something and looked terrible. But, so, like, it's going to be really easy for Auburn to come in and kind of take Tulane lightly, but given the fact that Auburn just beat the potential Pac-12 champion
And college football playoff favorite for the Pac-12.
Well, probably not anymore. Probably
not anymore.
Not the favorite. It's probably
but at that time.
Utah or Washington. But yes, I definitely agree with you there. It's gonna be easy for Auburn to let their guard down, and I think Tulane's more talented than any Auburn fan really imagines, and I think that Auburn, and the other thing is Auburn's really bad in home games against Group of 5 teams where they're big time favorites.
Really bad.
Auburn's 0-7 in their last 7 opportunities when it comes to covering the spread.
Yeah.
So I think Tulane's going to stick with Auburn this whole game. I think Auburn wins by 2 touchdowns, and people act like the sky's falling when it's really not. Auburn just needs to come out of it with a win and come out healthy. Come out healthy, work on things with the O-line, work on things with Bo Nix, and come out with a win without injuries.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question because, I mean, we're going to get into predictions and score predictions later on, but I also think this will be a closer game than most casual Auburn fans who just see Tulane's goofy logo on their schedule and think it's going to be an easy win. Is it going to be panic time if Tulane hangs around in the second half?
It will be, but it shouldn't be. I mean,
Auburn fans have seen this before. It's nothing new if that happens.
I mean, keep in mind,
Granted,
in 2017, we almost lost to Mercer, and then we went on to beat Alabama and Georgia.
Yeah.
And after the Mercer game, you would have thought the sky's falling. Auburn turns it over 5 or 6 times. I forget which one it was, but it was terrible. And people thought we were going to just basically lose out from that point on.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with Auburn fans. If Auburn fans see Gus if Gus came out the tunnel and instead of wearing a visor wore a hat, they would hit the panic button.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, because that's just how Auburn fans are, because they're conditioned that...
That's because they wouldn't recognize him. They're like, who's this guy?
They're conditioned that, like, if something is off, everything's about to go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Like how the 2-point conversion thing, where I said you're talking about Auburn over 2 points toward the end of the game because why not? Because Oregon could tie it up. And then
Oregon could have won it.
I immediately went into the thought process of, no, Auburn shouldn't do that because it's Auburn, something bad's going to happen if they try things.
That's such a terrible
thing. We haven't had like a disastrous like special teams / 2-point conversion go terribly wrong like that ever since Daniel Carlson was kicking the short field goal in the first half and Texas A&M in 2014. A&M blocks it and runs it all the way the other way and then goes on to upset an Auburn team that was pretty high up there in the rankings still. I think
can we blackball that ever talking about that game on this show?
I feel like something went wrong on a 2-point conversion last year. I think it was Malik Willis at quarterback in garbage time.
But like that's not catastrophic. That's just you didn't get the 2-point conversion, and that was granted it was a terrible read. It was I'm going to lower my shoulder and try to run through this middle linebacker rather than throwing the ball 6 feet in front of me to the tight end who's standing by himself right in front of me. But the other thing is Auburn is, because we kicked the extra point against Oregon, we're closing in on the longest streak all time of consecutive extra points hit in a row.
Don't
say that.
Dating back.
We're gonna get to A&M. We're gonna get to A&M. We're gonna need it to tie, and he's gonna doink it off the upright.
I think Auburn only needs like 6 more.
So we're gonna score 5 touchdowns in the next 2 days, or next 2 games. What you're saying?
We're gonna score 5 touchdowns against Tulane, and then have to win on Anders Carlson field goals against Kent State.
Don't even speak that into existence.
Just like Daniel when he hit 6 field goals to beat LSU in 2016.
And get Les Miles fired. That's the best part about all of that. Well, for that Tulane segment that was supposed to be talking about the game, we just kind of went whichever way.
Talk about everything.
Yeah. After the break, we'll be talking about the SEC slate coming up for Week 2 and seeing what these SEC teams need to watch out for, because apparently there's some G5s gunning for some SEC teams, at least from last week, and we'll see what other SEC teams may be in jeopardy. You're listening and watching Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV.
There are 250 miles of trails in Alabama state parks. That's 250 miles for you to hike, bike, and explore. And it's something we want to share with future generations. Help us improve these trails by becoming a partner in the Alabama State Parks Trail Program. To learn more about the importance of outdoor recreation and how you can help with the development and management of this new trail program, visit alapark.com or call 800-ALAPARK. Sponsored by the Alabama State Parks, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
The Army National Guard is committed to keeping the country safe and our communities secure. Composed of hundreds of thousands of citizen soldiers from all walks of life, the Guard is always ready to respond to local or national emergencies. We protect the homeland. We're always there when called upon, and in every state and territory, we stand guard for our communities. To learn more, log on to NationalGuard.com. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station. Selfless service is the guiding principle that drives Army National Guard soldiers to be always ready whenever disaster strikes. They are your next-door neighbors and your colleagues in schools, offices, and factories. To be a Guard soldier is to stand ready to serve at all times for family, for community, and for country. To learn more, log on to NationalGuard.com or contact an Army National Guard recruiter in your area. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station. The skills you can develop as a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you an edge in the high-tech job market of tomorrow. The Guard offers career training to take advantage of your skills in science, technology, engineering, and math that can help give you a leg up to a high-paying and rewarding STEM profession. Get a head start on your career while earning money to pay for college. Log on to NationalGuard.com to learn about all of the STEM career opportunities in the Army National Guard. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Welcome back inside the studio here on the Extra Point. Carter Bird, Aiden Kowalski, Jack Hart, joining myself, Jared Dillard, in the studio as we're moving on to the SEC slate that's happening this weekend. So what's happening in the SEC? Well, looking at a couple of games, I believe there's some sneaky games in there. Not a lot of people are going to really care about the West Virginia-Missouri game, but I'm going to like that game. Especially Missouri trying to bounce back after that loss to Wyoming.
Mizzou's going to bury him by 20.
Ooh. All right. I think that's also a pick'em game, isn't it?
That will land itself on our pick'em, yeah.
So we'll see. There's also Tennessee BYU, Arkansas Ole Miss, and then Purdue Vanderbilt, which is the battle of pretty much brothers, it seems like.
Yeah.
They are. You're right. They're almost identical schools in the fact that, like, in each conference, they obviously don't have the best athletes in either conference, but they both generally figure out like one offensive player who is it's Rondale Moore for Purdue, and it's I think Keyshawn Vaughn for Vandy.
They're both
just like is really good.
Is Keyshawn Vaughn the running back?
Yes,
he's the running back that I think Bleacher Report released an article saying he's the best running back like in college football, and I'm like, wait a minute.
They're both.
Vandy has some. If you go back through their probably last 15 years, they have some sneaky good running backs.
I'm sure they do.
Like Zach Stacy. I mean, you have all these guys that really performed at an extremely high level at Vandy, and if they're on a bigger SEC school, you're talking about guys that probably have an opportunity to win SEC Offensive Player of the Year, and maybe some of them you might even see a freaking Heisman campaign out of them.
They both have black and gold as their colors. They both have weird forms of transportation as their mascots that they've integrated into their uniforms somehow. I mean, it's the Spider-Man meme all over again in West Lafayette this weekend.
Both of them will jump up and upset somebody this year, but then when they play a team that has better athletes, get housed by 50. Like Vandy last year against Alabama and Purdue against us last year.
I really wanted Vanderbilt to beat Alabama that last year. I really wanted that.
I don't know how you ever thought that was going to happen.
Because I play NCAA 14 too much and I see too many upsets. It's true.
NCAA 14 this year has Auburn.
That's Jared's basis on pick'em.
Losing to Arkansas, and Arkansas hanging 38 on our defense, and Arkansas probably won't score 38 this year. They didn't score 38 against Portland State.
Speaking of Arkansas, I'm very excited to watch this SEC West basement cage match between Ole Miss and Arkansas in Oxford this weekend. I think that something crazy always happens in these games, whether it's the Eli Manning 5 overtime game or the 4th and 25 lateral that sent Alabama to the SEC championship. I think that's one to watch if you just want insane football.
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty good, especially for Ole Miss, who people are just making fun of Ole Miss for losing to Memphis.
They were not expected to win the game,
but they were favored.
No, they were not.
Memphis was favored to win.
Oh, Memphis, yes.
Yes. Memphis.
I was saying Ole Miss.
I picked Ole Miss.
We were arguing the same side.
That's how confrontational we are with each other. It's like we're arguing the same thing. Memphis was favored to win. People got to give credit to Memphis. They are a very good G5 school. Now, should Ole Miss lose to them because they're Ole Miss in the SEC? No, not at all. But I'm interested to see how Ole Miss kind of just bounces back from that loss on the road, especially because they're going home to play Arkansas. So we'll see what the Land Sharks got cooking up.
Yeah, it's a it's two teams that have terrible defenses, but it's two teams that might have equally terrible offenses.
Yeah, it's two teams that scored less than 40 combined points last week.
I mean, Ole Miss
less than 30. They scored 30 combined points last week.
It's understandable that their offense dropped off as much as it did, because you lose Tamu and you lose Metcalf and you lose Brown. And you even lose the third receiver, whose name's escaping me right now. But
who cares at this point?
And all of those receivers went in the top 5 rounds. 2 of them went in the second round. I mean, they're rolling out a redshirt freshman quarterback. Granted, he was a 5-star coming out of high school. And you're rolling out a defense that still can't stop anybody with half decent athletes. And then you have completely new receivers. I mean, they're not going to be successful. It's going to be a long year in Oxford.
And this is a team that finished 5-7 last year. So, I mean, we're talking about losing that many guys and then now coming back and having any more expectations from last year. Yeah.
If they get to 5 wins this year, they need to
They've done their job.
A parade in Oxford.
They have done the coaches have done their job.
There's a pretty hard ceiling this year at 4-8.
No rest for the weary as Tennessee takes on BYU in Knoxville. That's a 6 o'clock kick.
I want to see how many Tennessee fans actually show up for this game. After you drop what the ESPN FPI projects as the 4th worst loss of all time to Georgia State, you turn around the next week and you're actually playing on what's many believe to be a very solid opponent rather than a terrible group of 5 team.
And if you are wondering, I had to go look it up, and I believe Michigan App State was number 1.
Yeah.
So
which I kind of wish that
Michigan fans ain't safe on this show either.
It's unfortunate that it is BYU as their opponent, whose fans probably won't travel as big numbers from Provo. I wish they were playing like Murray State, Charleston Southern, one of these other FCS teams, just to see how many fans make the trip to Knoxville, just to see if Tennessee drops 2 terrible games in a row.
So BYU, the only thing I think Tennessee has going for them is
BYU lost to Holy War.
Well, I don't think that's a good thing for Tennessee, because I think BYU's gonna be mad. But Garantano last week really struggled with pressure, turning the ball over some when he as he was getting hit. BYU's pass rush, I don't know if y'all watched them against Utah. They might be the slowest humans I've ever seen on a football field, and I don't think they're ever going to get to a quarterback this year. Therefore, I think Garantano might actually be able to sit in the pocket and deliver a couple passes. But then that BYU quarterback's a baller.
Do we know the current line on
3.5?
3.5. Ooh, that's disrespect.
I'm surprised that it's not a straight up pick 'em. I think BYU's gonna win.
Ooh, is that a game in our pick 'em?
Absolutely.
Oh God. What's some other games that are on the docket?
Let's move to the elephants in the room. 2 games of the week. Clemson and LSU are 2 teams that are playing, but not each other. They're playing Texas A&M and Texas, respectively.
Yeah, those are gonna be really great games. It sucks because both those games kick off at the same time, correct?
They do not.
They do not.
One kicks off at 2:30, and the other kicks off at 6:30.
So LSU Texas is 2:30, correct?
No.
It's
You're 0 for 2 right now.
It's 6 o'clock.
It's 6:30.
6:30. LSU Texas.
LSU Texas. It's a bigger game.
Why did I think that Clemson A&M was at night?
That was a night game last year.
It should be. It should always be a night game in Death Valley. Should always. It's true. It should.
All I have to say about that game is, you want to talk about disrespect? The number 12 team in the country, yes, they're going on the road to number 1. Depending on where you look, they're a 17.5 to a 19.5 point dog. I don't remember the last time that number 12 went on the road this early in the year and was that big of a dog.
You think that's disrespect? I'll say this, and we got to head to break. One of the Vegas bookers accidentally got numbers mixed up, and Alabama opened up at the 55-point underdog to New Mexico State, and they had to go change it because people were betting on the game.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
Hey,
they'll probably cover that one.
Keep your eyes on the pylons in Clemson this weekend. They'll be up to something.
Yeah, that game. Hopefully Hopefully it's not no blowout. Hopefully it is close. Let's see what Clemson does.
LSU Texas is going to be a great
Hopefully
one,
it's controversial and leads to people questioning who's in the playoff again, because that's what I love to see.
I believe it's the first time Texas gets game day since they lost to Michael Crabtree and Graham Harrell in 2007.
Okay. So when's the last time it was in Austin, though?
I think that this is the first time it's been in Austin because it's always been
away
in
games?
Dallas in the Cotton Bowl.
You're right.
Or away games.
Okay.
And so they haven't had it in like 12 years.
This is big.
This is big.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
We're going to go ahead and head to a quick commercial break. When we come
Be
back.
set for Jerry World.
When we come back, we'll have more.
My mic still on?
SEC. Yes, your mic is still on. Let me get through this. Everybody shut up. When we come back, we will have more SEC football on the other side as we have to talk about a couple more games, and especially because Carter has dug up something on how the SEC can blow up the college playoff landscape. You're listening and watching Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV.
Darren College, a former NFL Super Bowl champion, signed the most important contract of his life to serve in the Army National Guard.
I've had a lot of military in my family. It's a big part of what my family's done for a long time. I want to go out there and make a difference. I didn't find that working behind a desk, so for me it was a pretty easy decision to make. And then the opportunity to serve my community and serve my country was just icing on the cake.
To learn how to be part of the Army National Guard, log on to nationalguard.com. Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Our daughter might be drinking or taking something else. We can't talk with her about it. She keeps everything secret. But when I pretend everything is okay, I'm keeping secrets too. My therapist suggested Al-Anon family groups. It was helpful to hear what other parents said. Are you troubled by someone's drinking? You might be surprised at what you could learn in an Al-Anon family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-AL-ANON or visit alanonfamilygroups.org.
Hi, I'm Anthony Anderson, and on TV, I play a dad who has it all. But growing up, my real life was very different. My parents taught me that tomorrow isn't promised to anyone. That's why they each had life insurance to take care of the future. I got my first policy when I was 18. Now, would your family be okay if something happened to you? If you can buy a latte, you can buy life insurance. It's that affordable. Join me in taking care of our family's futures at lifehappens.org.
A public service message from the nonprofit Life Happens.
I want to thank my mommy for loving me so much, for taking me to the doctor when I broke my foot,
for leaving me alone when I wanted to be alone.
And now, as a grown-up, I'm thankful for being able to take care of you, my dear mom, for taking you to your therapies, for understanding that sometimes you simply want to be alone.
Roles change without us noticing. That's why AARP gives you the information to provide even better care for your loved one. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Nothing feels better than this. Nothing feels better.
Oh man, welcome back inside the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. Joining me in studio, Carter Bird, Aiden Kowalski, Jack Hart. As we continue to have a little bit of fun, as we're in the first 30 minutes of the show, we are still talking SEC football. As
second 30 minutes.
I said we've been through the first 30 minutes.
You said we're still in it. It doesn't matter. Let's go. Jeez. Oh, Jared, it's going to be a fun semester, dude. I'm excited.
Yeah,
I sometimes wonder why I do this show.
I wonder why you moved it to 10.
Do you guys want to do 7 a.m.?
I wouldn't have caught that at 7, but now I'm heightened awareness.
Because, hey, at 7, Jared and I would be even grumpier at each other than we already are.
Let's see. We're getting into some more SEC football. Carter, you have some, let's see, what's the word I'm looking for? You got some hot takes coming straight out the oven.
All right, so
I brought my oven mitt to contain this.
The first one, I'm going to start with the Auburn one because it's going to lead me into my SEC one. So I truly believe that Auburn's going to win these two games these next 2 weeks.
Wait. Okay.
And then that's not the whole hot take. Don't worry.
I was about to say.
And then Auburn's going to go to Texas A&M and pull out a win because I think Texas A&M has to be able to run. in order for their offense to be effective, and I don't see them being able to run with their loss of Travion Williams, who led the conference in rushing last year. I don't see him being able to run on Auburn there. And then Mississippi State at home, first honestly big home game. I don't think Auburn's going to drop that one, especially if they're undefeated at that point. And then you go to Florida. That, in my mind, you've all heard my opinions on Florida, most overrated team in the country. Poor man's Texas A&M this year.
Oh no,
can't run, can't block, can't pass because their quarterback's significantly worse than Kellen
Has
Mond.
the hot take happened yet?
I think Auburn's
still
undefeated
Yeah.
going to LSU.
So the hot take is Auburn undefeated going to LSU?
Yep.
Is that hot?
I think it's at least like
There's 3 losable games between now and then.
Like
and those 3 games are A&M,
At
Florida.
A&M, Mississippi State at home, and at Florida.
I think there's only one losable game, really.
Who?
I don't know if you've watched Auburn football the past 5 years.
Whoa.
I have.
Are you about to say that the road games against top 12 teams aren't losable?
No, I think A&M losable, but I think Mississippi State at home.
I think that's
dubs,
very losable.
Dubs. And I think Florida on the road, dubs.
I think the Mississippi State game is the point in the season where it comes make or break. Is Auburn's offense going to work? Because if it doesn't, we see another 23-9. If it does, we see another 42-17.
If we get to Mississippi State and we still don't really know if Auburn's offense is working or not, then that means A&M didn't go as planned.
That's fair.
A&M could be one with defense, like it was 2 times ago in Kyle Field. A&M is always a crazy game. I think the Mississippi State game is a litmus test of how the Auburn offense is doing, especially because it's the first big home game, as Carter said.
A&M still hasn't beaten us at Kyle Field, though. There's also that fact.
Which is why I'm just leaning toward the fact that if Auburn beats Oregon, and then a couple weeks later they get some tune-up games, then they beat A&M, then I don't see a reason why, other than their Auburn football, I should be scared about Mississippi State and Florida.
And let me remind you,
I agree with you.
2 years ago at Kyle Field, Auburn could have lost that if it weren't for the blocked field goal or the blocked punt.
Yes.
But, okay, if on paper,
those are
Auburn
games
should
for
come
Auburn.
out with probably a loss and a half out of those 3 games.
I'll buy that.
On paper, we should. I don't think we're going to. But anyway, that take is going to lead me into how the SEC could submarine the 4-team college football playoff this year. And it starts, technically it started with Florida beating Miami, and it started with Auburn beating Oregon. But we really take off starting this weekend. The most unreasonable thing that has to happen is Texas A&M goes on the road and beats Clemson. I know it's going to be tough, but they played them really tough last year. Clemson said that they were the toughest team they played. If Texas A&M figures out a way to win that game, LSU goes on the road and beats Texas. Then a scenario that very easily could play out, and then Georgia beats Notre Dame the following week, that just to strengthen the SEC's stance. What could play out in the Pac-12, Big 12, and ACC is Oregon could win the Pac-12, and Auburn would have beaten Oregon. Texas could win the Big 12, and LSU would have beaten Texas. Clemson will win the ACC regardless of what happens this weekend. And Texas A&M would have beaten them in this scenario. And they could play Miami in the conference championship game, which Florida beat. And then what could play out as well is Auburn, Alabama, and Georgia would have to be undefeated going into the Auburn-Georgia game. Auburn beats Georgia, loses to Alabama. Alabama plays Georgia in the SEC championship. Everybody has one loss except for Alabama at this point. Georgia wins. What happens with the college football playoff?
This is the exact same thing that happened 2 years ago with Alabama.
Probably implodes.
You would have 3 one-loss SEC teams with legitimate claims to the playoff. Alabama being Alabama, with their only loss being in the SEC championship game. They have not shown that they would leave a one-loss Alabama out in any scenario yet.
Correct.
One-loss SEC champion Georgia gets in because they're SEC champions and they have one loss.
Mm-hmm.
One loss, Auburn has the strongest resume in the country.
Wait, you're talking about...
And then the argument comes down for the 4th spot. one loss,
probably Ohio State.
One loss Clemson, or
probably
your Big
Ohio.
Ten champion that's Ohio State or Michigan.
Just
Or
No,
one
no,
loss
no.
Texas.
Big Ten champion Ohio State, because there's no way Michigan wins the Big
Before we
Ten.
move on, like, Carter, if I went into your bedroom right now, is there just a wall with all the team logos connected with yarn and thumbtacks? Because I had a very hard time following that.
No,
I see where you're coming from, though.
It's not unreasonable, though. If you
It
really
isn't.
think about
It isn't.
It's like if you take it at a game-by-game basis, the most unreasonable thing that has to happen for this to play out is Texas A&M has to beat Clemson.
I don't know.
The most unreasonable thing.
I don't know. Auburn going 11-0 going into Iron Bowl weekend. It's kind of.
Hey,
it's kind of.
when you take it in a game-by-game basis,
Yeah.
we just said that it's not unreasonable that Auburn's undefeated going to Baton Rouge.
Actually,
Yeah,
and then if you take that game, an undefeated Auburn
you literally
playing
just brought it up. No, you literally brought it up. Auburn undefeated going to Baton Rouge, where they haven't won since '97.
I know, but when you take that game,
That's crazy.
I think the most crazy
Since
thing is
99, right?
under your assumption, Georgia beating Alabama. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let's not get crazy.
They have been tied or leading for all but 9 snaps.
Yeah,
the past 2
I watched the
years.
games. I know what happened.
Yeah.
All right, but like that's a real scenario that could play out
Harder.
in which the committee, I have a hard time seeing them leaving Georgia and Alabama out, but Alabama has the weakest resume at that point to get in.
Tell
And
me
Auburn
how
has
this
the
is.
strongest-
Tell me how this is different from the 2017 season. Flip Auburn and Georgia at the SEC championship, and then Alabama is the odd man out, who then gets in.
Well, if Auburn beats Georgia in the SEC championship,
Auburn's automatically in. There.
Auburn's in.
Auburn would be in your
Auburn's
scenario.
in, and I think Georgia's in. I think Alabama's on the outside looking in then because Georgia losing
You
pushes
think?
them
Okay,
out.
you think they're going to flip
I
the
think-
script?
I think Georgia, one loss Georgia would have gotten in
Who
over
beats Alabama though?
over non-conference or non-division Alabama that did not have the strongest resume when you look at it. But
Yeah.
Auburn's the difference is Auburn's resume this year. Auburn could go 11-1 and have 5 wins against the top 11.
And another difference is that
That's a nice
2
thought.
years ago, we also had undefeated USC, Clemson, and USC, I think, or Clemson, USC was undefeated very close to the end of the season. There were more good teams in that scenario. In the scenario Carter's laid out, these
Well,
three SEC teams are the only teams left, really.
You could essentially eliminate the Pac-12 because in this scenario, Auburn beats the Pac-12 champion. And so the Pac-12 would be out of it because the Pac-12 standing's already as weak as it is. You could essentially eliminate the Big 12 because in this scenario, LSU, depending on how LSU A&M fleshes out,
beat Texas.
They're going to be 4th or 5th best in the SEC, and they went and beat the Big 12 champion.
Mm-hmm.
You could honestly,
especially if Texas picks up another loss.
you could honestly make that the same argument for Clemson. Like the only reason why you would let Clemson in with that resume because they don't play anybody because the ACC is so weak is the name recognition of Dabo Swinney, Clemson, and Trevor Lawrence,
And
which is the
irresistible Clemson v. Alabama round 5.
Yeah, no kidding.
But
That's
this
the scary part is that it's actually going to be the most realistic scenario.
I mean, in this scenario, you have the Pac-12, they're standing so weak, and then the ACC and the Big 12 essentially are all but eliminated because
they're all just non-factors.
A mid-tier team in the SEC, based on how the season would play out in this scenario, would have beaten their conference champions. And if that happens, how do you put them in over 3 SEC teams that have separated themselves from the rest of the SEC and honestly the rest of the country?
We're in week 1 right now.
We're in week 2.
Week 2, yeah.
Or week 2. I'm sorry, but we played
like,
one game and we are talking about. I love this.
This could the SEC has an opportunity over the next 2 weeks after the disastrous first week in which the bottom half of the conference that other than Tennessee and Missouri, I mean, Ole Miss wasn't expected to win. Arkansas wasn't expected to be good. They looked bad. I mean, the bottom half of the conference wasn't supposed to be good, and most of them struggled or lost games. I mean, the SEC top half could really flex its muscles over the next 2 weeks and come out of the first 3 weeks being like top half of the SEC is head and shoulders above the rest of the country.
It's true.
That's a very real scenario that could play out over the next 10 days.
Everything you said is true. That is true. I will give you that. But I got to go to break.
But that's all I'll give you.
You talked for
No
like
more.
80% of that segment.
There's a lot of ifs.
Y'all asked me to.
I'm glad I brought my oven mitt. That was a very hot take. Thank you for bringing that up.
That was one
But it's
ginormous hot take
it's a
in
real
15 minutes.
It's a real scenario.
It's real.
That's like, I'm not saying the odds are likely, but it's not unreasonable.
I'd love to see it.
Because I think it would kill the college football playoff.
I mean, so is Texas A&M beating Clemson. Who knows?
Who knows?
Watch those pylons.
All right, everybody just calm down for a second, okay? We're going to take a break. 2 minutes. Everybody just take a chill pill. When we come back, we'll have more of the Extra Point on the other side of this break, as we'll bring up Auburn soccer. They're going to have a couple games this weekend here on WGL 91.1. You're watching and listening to Extra Point here on WGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV.
It only takes a minute to find out if you may have prediabetes, and you can do it at doihaveprediabetes.org. But you're probably not going to, are you? Kids, work, listening to the radio. You're busy, which is great because busy people can't get prediabetes. Oh my, I read that wrong. They can. Should have worn my glasses. So visit doihaveprediabetes.org and take a short test, because prediabetes can be reversed.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners.
Want to help pull the plug on cyber terrorists? Or work with satellites and other space technology? How about learning the avionics inside stealth fighters? You can do it, serving part-time in the Air National Guard. In the Air Guard, you'll earn extra cash and money for college while gaining high-tech skills in one of nearly 200 career specialties. Call the Alabama Air National Guard at 1-800-TOGOANG or visit goang.com/AL.
Soon this little baby I'm singing to sleep will start to walk. Before I know it, I'll be dropping her off at school, beaming when she walks up to accept her diploma, or holding back tears as she takes those big steps down the aisle. But before she takes all those steps, she and thousands like her will need you to take yours. Join March for Babies to help make her steps possible. Start your team today at marchforbabies.org.
Young men just don't seem to listen to the radio anymore. They're too busy with their earpods and TV games.
It's iPods and video games?
Whatever. Point is, young men are probably not listening to me right now, but they will listen to you. So I need you to remind them to register with Selective Service when they turn 18. It's an easy way to keep the door open to important benefits like college loans and government jobs, and it's the law. So please feel free to remind them to go to sss.gov or any post office to register.
I heard that.
Gladiator, 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 to fight with the gods of the giant slayer. Shaker, dominator, freight train wrecking ball, gladiator.
Welcome back inside the show. Extra Point here on WGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. Carter Bird, Aiden Kowalski, Jack Hart. As we only have a couple minutes left in this segment as we hit to the top of the hour. But something that we need to talk about on the show is what Weagle has on tap for live broadcasting.
The world's game.
Hooray, hooray.
As tonight, Auburn Soccer opens up their home slate.
Passive-aggressive over there, Aiden.
Passive-aggressive? I'm calling it, bud. Why would I be passive-aggressive?
Aiden will be on the call tonight as Auburn welcomes in Syracuse for the first home soccer game of the year, and that game can be heard live on WEGL 91.1. It's always fun calling Auburn soccer with Coach Karen Hoppe and the squad, and they hope to get a big home opening win against Syracuse. But not only that, Auburn also has another game Sunday. They can also hear on WGL 91.1. So make sure you tune in
Jacob
on your radio dial.
Hey,
Jacob's on that game.
4 straight home games. It's nice being home for a little while.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
I just thought that you were upset that we weren't talking about the MLB right now.
That's why I thought you were being
I mean, he is, but don't say it.
Maybe next segment or something. But
Yeah.
no, yes, I was. Not this segment though.
Aiden, you were on play-by-play.
Yes.
I know you were studying the game for a couple of hours last night.
I
What is on the docket for tonight's game for those listening and wondering what's going on with Auburn soccer as they get ready to take on Syracuse?
Well, first of all, in home openers, Auburn, under Coach Karen Hoppe, is 15-3-2. So just like a little side note, I'm not saying we start our SEC matchups or anything, but before then, it already looks good, even for this 1-2 squad with a new goalie. Sarah LeBeau, of course, out due to senioritis, I guess, can be your case, departing from last
You could
year.
just say graduated and call it a day.
Okay, whatever. I tried to make it interesting. And now with Kate Hart now in goalie, she's the grad transfer from San Diego State, and she's saved 15 but has allowed 5 goals this season. So it should be interesting, and that's going to be a big storyline to watch out for as the season continues. Can Auburn, with a high-powered offense, still defend the way they did last year and the years before?
What about Syracuse? What's on tap for Syracuse?
Honestly, I haven't done too much research on Syracuse yet, but from what I've been seeing, they did not have a great year last year. They only won 3 games, but are off to a pretty good start at 2-1. So from what I know, it should be pretty good. They don't have too many substitutions throughout the game. From what I've seen, they keep their starters in outside of maybe 1 or 2 substitutions for the most part. So, I mean, expect them to get tired come the second half. And now, of course, with this new water break. Jared, what was the rule that you heard?
So the new rule for college soccer is that, and I may get the degree wrong here, I believe 83 degrees
That
is the
sounds
cutoff.
right, yeah.
And if the playing field, if it's 83 degrees or higher on the playing field, there is a mandatory water break taking at some point in the first and second halves. So when play stops halfway through the half, don't worry, nothing happened.
How
It's
long
just,
is that? Do we know? Or is it just some period of time whenever players are ready to get? I mean, it's kind of a free timeout.
I mean, probably
when the ref gets thirsty.
Probably when the ref gets
when the referee can get some water as well, then that's pretty much the time limit.
And it's going to be a hot one,
It is.
especially for setting up equipment at 4:30 today. 96 degrees was the high.
Yeah,
so that should be fun.
96 on Saturday as well. So dress accordingly for the
And
Tulane
it's a day game too.
Yeah, I guess the good thing for both tonight and then Saturday is at least the game is at 6-ish.
Mm-hmm.
So
6:30 Central,
the
Auburn,
setup,
Alabama.
Yeah, the setup is bad, but once the game starts, it should be okay. Now, 1 o'clock on Sunday, the other Auburn soccer game. Hold on, because that ain't gonna be great.
How important is getting a win here for this stretch of home games, Aiden?
You know, it does set up the week well. I'm not sure how drastic the change will be since, I mean, SEC play doesn't start for, I'd say, another month. Karen Hoppe is still trying to get her team figured out. It's a relatively young squad with 3 seniors and 1 grad student. 3 of the team's members who are starting are transfers, so it's still that time to figure things out. They have a lot of games. They played 20 last year, did fairly well. But it's really a good time for them to learn and figure out who they are, because that's another thing with Auburn volleyball. They're kind of going under the same sort of thing. And Auburn soccer expecting to go back to the NCAA tournament, which they've done the past 5 seasons, and actually they're one of 13 teams to do that currently. They do have higher expectations, and I do think now that I'm kind of talking myself into this is a bigger game than I thought it actually would be.
It is important for a home opener for Auburn to just kind of get their foot in the door.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to lose your home opener, and then you're kind of just.
It sets up the season nicely.
Yeah, especially when don't blink, because SEC play is not that far away for soccer. Soccer goes pretty fast scheduling wise. As Auburn had a nice little, I don't know what you call it, I guess tournament, so to speak, over in Athens last week, where they
Not
took
so nice.
They took a game against Maryland 4-0, but Virginia Tech was a tough game that they dropped. It was a good Virginia Tech squad, and Auburn's played South Florida, pretty good team that Auburn beat
15th,
last year.
Were they?
Yeah, they were ranked 15 to 14, depending on the poll that you're looking at.
Yeah.
So it's not as though Auburn's played bad. It's just Auburn's played tough teams that are going to challenge them, and at the end of the day, should make them a better squad.
Yeah, that's a good tune-up heading into the regular season.
And I think the word is figuring themselves out still, and that's just with a lot of teams, especially with how many freshmen you have. That's just going to be your constant variable. Whoever can figure that out the quickest is going to be the one who comes out on top, especially in these early matches.
That's going to do it for this Auburn soccer segment. Remember, you can listen to Auburn soccer tonight here on WGL 91.1 FM as they get the home opener started against Syracuse.
Let's pack the stadium, 6:30 p.m.
As we're going to head to a commercial break, I just want to say one thing. I think this may be the longest time I've heard Carter not talk.
And the longest time I've talked.
We should talk about soccer more often.
Yeah. Maybe soccer is the kryptonite that I need against Carter.
And then some hockey, maybe. Carter, do you know?
I can talk hockey.
No.
No, this is Jack's segment.
I can talk hockey with Jack.
Oh, man. All right, we're going to head to a commercial break. We'll be back at the top of the hour with the Extra Point here on WGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. College Pick'em coming up next.
A promise was made. A promise that hit the beaches of Normandy. A covenant that split the skies over Berlin. A vow that captured Iwo Jima. A promise was made. A solemn oath that liberated Seoul. A sacred trust that defended Quezon. A pact that dug in Da Nang. A contract that weathered Tet. A promise was made. A pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq. A bond that patrolled door to door in Fallujah. An IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans. A promise we all must keep. DAV fights for all veterans and their families so they get the health care, financial benefits, and support they earned. If you're a veteran who needs help or you'd like to help us keep the promise, visit DAV.org.
Hey, Dr. Phil here. I help people solve difficult and trying personal problems every day on my TV show, but there's one problem that's just got me stumped: childhood hunger. Nearly 16 million children in America struggle with it. That's 1 in 5 kids who may not know where their next meal is coming from, despite the fact that there's more than enough healthy, nutritious food out there to feed them all. Now, I don't know about you, but that is unacceptable to me. Luckily, the Feeding America network of good people is out there collecting surplus food and giving hope to hungry children and their families at local food banks all across the country. But let's face it, they can't do it without your help. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Sharing has never meant as much as it does now. We share the things we love most in life for the world to see. But what if we could actually do more with our sharing than just collect likes? What if this sharing could be used to make a difference? Now there's a place where we can put all that sharing to good use. The National MS Society is asking people to make a difference and share what they love with someone else who loves it too. Whether it's surfing, dancing, or whatever is important to you, we've created a place that'll help you get your experience out to the world. If you have a story, share it. If you have a solution, share that too. Join us at wearestrongerthanms.org, because together we are stronger.
As a mother, you don't want to have to worry about this bill is coming, but then she needs this chemo. That's a decision you shouldn't have to make.
El que San Jude no cobra ni un centavo para nosotros significa quitarnos todo ese estrés, esa preocupación y podernos enfocar en nuestra hija.
That was the first thing I was like, how are we going to do this? When St. Jude told us that we didn't have to pay a single bill, I was like, wow. They pretty much have saved us.
It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders, and now your focus is supporting this child.
There is not another hospital like St. Jude. The patient care is unmatchable. It saved my life. It saved my daughter's life. It saved our family.
Dad, we need to talk.
Can we just enjoy the drive?
If you're not going to listen to me, who will we listen to?
Jeffrey. Marcia Gay Harden, what?
Eyes on the road, Dad.
What are you doing? What are you doing in my back seat? How did you get in here?
You're getting older.
Not that old.
Your brain's changing. It's natural.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Honey, I've got experience with this. Jeffrey, brain health is all about making the most of your brain as you age and helping to reduce some of the risks to your brain.
Really? Now that's interesting.
So, you'll talk to her about this, but not me. Marcia Gay Harden? Where did she go?
Learn what you can do to help keep your brain healthy at brainhealth.gov. She didn't say goodbye. I mean, I would have. Visit brainhealth.gov.
The following is a production of WEGL 91.1 FM.
That ball is gone. It's a home run. It's a walk-off home run for Stephen Williams.
WEGL Sports,
The Tigers are headed to the College World Series.
where every
The Tigers are SEC tournament champions.
game
There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going to run it all the way back.
lives. Top of the hour. Welcome back inside the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. Joining me in the studio, Carter Bird, Aiden Kowalski, Jack Hart, as we are now in the Pick'em segment.
Yay!
Picking those college football games. As me, Carter, and Aiden all went 5-1 in the versus Plainsman Challenge. Jack went 3-3, and overall, me, Carter, and Aiden went 8-2, and Jack 6-4. So hasn't been the best for good old Jack Hart, but let's see if he can turn around his luck.
That's the
week.
first positive thing I've heard you say about Jack in the pick'em standings.
Before
it has just been a
Before we go on to
trash
this week's
on-
pick'em, can we just talk about in last week's pick'em how Jared and I got just it's so close to picking the Auburn-Oregon score.
That's true. Jack, you walked into the studio. It was on Sunday. We were both in here. You walked in. You said, "Man, I was 2 points away. I won pick'em. I picked the score." And then I turned to you and said, "Yeah, I was 1 point off."
I picked.
I thought I was close.
Well, we were all very close. I picked 20.
What was your score, Aiden?
I was 31-21.
Mm-hmm. I was 25 to 20.
You're 25-17?
I was 23-17.
23. Okay, so you're the farthest off, but that's,
Okay, thanks, man.
Just wanted to make
footnote.
just wanted to make sure that
unnecessary statement, but
I just want to make sure that I'm better.
25 to 20, which is
Oh,
2 points off.
Hang on.
I'm kidding.
You
bud.
would have picked the dadgum Northwestern game wrong if Jack and I didn't pipe up and tell you that it was Stanford that was ranked 25th and not Northwestern.
And I thank you for that.
Going on to
Pick
this
them
week.
however you can get them.
Yeah,
That's
going
right.
on to this week. Let's go ahead and let's get into our picks right now. As Jack, you're gonna keep up with who picked who?
Absolutely.
All right, I don't have to write them down. All right, first game on the docket: Miami and North Carolina.
Ooh.
So this is how it's gonna go. We're gonna go in reverse order. So we were all three tied. So I guess we'll go ABC order. Carter, myself, and then Aiden will pick in that order, and then Jack will pick last. All right.
For what reason?
For what reason? Because think about it like this.
We kind of just went this
yeah.
way always, and now we're
No, because
we're doing a
shaking it up.
zigzag.
let me tell you why. Because the person in last has to be able to catch back up. If whoever's in first place, if they were to pick first or they were to pick last, right, they could just match anybody.
Well, that's just lame. That's just
It's
That's why
reverse
we-
order.
That's why we do our research beforehand.
Like you guys do research. Huh?
Aiden. I don't think Aiden's ever looked at a college football stat in his life. I'm kidding.
So Carter,
Ouch.
myself,
Had
Aiden,
to
then
get you
Jack.
back.
Carter,
That's
Miami,
true.
North Carolina.
Don't believe the UNC hype after beating a severely underperforming South Carolina team in week 1. Miami, I mean, in my scenario, has to be in the ACC championship. We're going with Miami here.
Also going with Miami, no matter how bad they played against Florida. And I know North Carolina played well. I just think Miami has the better ball players. They got the 5-star athletes. They got the pipeline. And North Carolina coming home, a lot of excitement around the program. I do think that Miami team's going to show up and it's going to teach them a thing or two. So give me Miami, and probably what's still is going to be a close game, closer than people realize.
I totally agree with that. I definitely think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be a very clean game from what I've seen from their first games, but I will pick Miami. I do want the underdogs, but Miami is going to be my final choice.
Jack?
So this game is in Chapel Hill, which will be probably a pretty raucous atmosphere coming in 1-0 with Mac Brown having him dance in the locker room.
I just want to quickly bring up, is the hurricane going to affect the game in any sort of way?
It might be rainy, but as of right now, no cancellations at the FBS level. There have been some games moved a little bit in FCS, but as of right now, we're good to go for Saturday. And while I do think the atmosphere will be pretty crazy in Chapel Hill, I do think Miami will win, despite how bad they looked against Florida in week 0. I think they will have really good tape on what not to do to have looked at for 2 weeks and maybe get those mistakes fixed. I think Miami's biggest problem was the O-line play, and I think that UNC just does not have the pass rushers there to make that as big of a problem as it was against Florida.
All right, so across the board, Hurricanes coming through. All right, here's one that's going to be fun. BYU, Tennessee. Tennessee trying to bounce back after a horrible, horrible loss to Georgia State. And BYU just trying to get a win after the Holy War. Carter, you were up first. I remember what you said about a good 30 minutes ago about this game. Are you going to stick to your guns?
Yeah, I am. I totally think BYU is going to go on the road and win this game. I love that quarterback for them. The kid is a baby-faced gunslinger back there. He looks like he's 14, but just competes his butt off. And then Tennessee, not only do you have the distraction of being the glaring worst loss of the first weekend, you had 2 players leave the program this week as well. I mean, there's just additional problems more and more there. I don't think the fans are going to show up. I don't think the team's going to show up, and I think BYU's going to win.
You also had the truck driving around Georgia all week playing the Tennessee loss on repeat.
Amazing. That's amazing.
You know, as much as I want to pick BYU, I think Tennessee will win this game. They'll find some sort of way. I know they lost to Georgia State, but I do think the loss is going to wake up some people. You know, did 2 players leave the program? Yeah, but the ones that are staying, they want to prove that they're not a laughingstock, and they can do that by just getting a big statement win at home. Will the students and fans show up? Most likely not. I mean, they're probably going to be deflated.
Speaking of deflated, did you see that one of the boats in the Vol Navy in the river caught on fire before the Georgia State game?
I mean, that's
that started
like the ultimate omen for this season. They're gonna go 3-9, and Jeremy Pruitt's gonna get fired after year 2.
And I think that's just gonna be the omen for the game. I'm going with Tennessee just because home crowd. The fans have bought their season tickets. They're gonna show up to the game. That's my basis on it, but I'm gonna go with Tennessee.
I'll also go Tennessee, Jack.
I think I'm going to agree with Jared, but pick the exact opposite. I think Tennessee is going to find a way to lose this game. I could see this game being probably around 20-20 in the fourth quarter, and Tennessee just getting a big flub, big turnover, big blocked kick that sends the game BYU's way. I'll take the Cougars on the road.
What a contradiction. I'm going to agree with you but disagree with you at the same time.
Just polar opposite of everything. So
Hey.
technically a point has been made, but just
It is what it
flip
is.
the sign.
Here we go. Syracuse, Maryland. In what is probably going to be the hardest game to pick. And I say this
You
because
got a 1 in 2 chance. I mean, come on.
Syracuse, Maryland. All right.
I don't even want to say anything.
I know what I
Not
think
wrong.
is going to happen in this game. I think you saw it a little bit this past weekend with Maryland, and then Syracuse struggled with Liberty.
Yeah.
Maryland's going to spread them out with their transfer quarterback from Virginia Tech, Josh Jackson, and just use their speed, and they're going to win. Let's go Terps.
You're going Maryland.
Heck yes, I am.
It's tough, but I'm going to believe Syracuse can go on the road and win.
Why? Because they're in the top 25?
No.
What's your reason?
I actually have better reasoning than that.
Okay. Because that's his reasoning. I can promise you that.
I think
No, I got a better reasoning. Believe me.
Turtles are cool.
I think for
I like turtles.
Maybe not that cool, but you'll hear it.
When thinking about Syracuse's game against Liberty, you got to remember that they opened up on the road. Why against Liberty? I don't know, but Syracuse, I think they still got a pretty good team. And for Maryland, they're coming back home. I just think while it'll be close, it'll be one of those ACC games where, I don't know, a lot of things are probably going to happen. A lot of points will be scored. But I believe in Syracuse offense more than I do Maryland.
Oh, yeah. I think the over is going to hit by a mile in that game. But
yeah.
And I think Maryland's going to win.
It's going to come down to who's more prepared for the moment in crunch time. And I think Syracuse is that team. I think Maryland's gonna make a couple of mistakes down the stretch that may doom them. So I'm gonna go Syracuse.
A little backstory time for me.
Oh
truly.
gosh, do we have time for this?
Syracuse.
I have no choice
who
now.
Plays Auburn tonight at the Auburn Soccer Complex is gonna get affected. The football team is gonna get affected by the Orange loss in the soccer game. That they're gonna come back and say, "Darn, we lost that game." So now the football team is going to be deflated. Now traveling to Maryland Stadium.
I can't listen to that no more. I can't listen to that no more.
No mic can contain me. I'm just going to raise my voice. Jared, I got Maryland.
You got Maryland. Your mic's back on. You don't got to yell.
Now, okay, yeah.
That was
Jack. Save us.
I will take Syracuse because I think Syracuse has a sneaky defense that will be able to shut down Maryland.
Can I change my pick after listening to Aiden?
I will not allow it.
Deflated. Syracuse is my favorite to come in second place in the ACC Atlantic. So
to Miami?
To Clemson.
Oh wait. Sorry about that.
Atlantic.
It's been 5 years and I still don't know those divisions. I had to look it up.
Hey, at least it's not as bad as the leaders and the legends that the Big Ten was for like a week.
The dark time. I will take Syracuse. I like their defense. I think they're going to shut down the Terps' offense. Give me the orange.
We're going to go to our next game, but first, a little bit of breaking news. I'm only going to say it because I know I'll mess with Aiden because we're not going to talk about it. But Strasburg likely to opt out of the Nationals after this season. But we're not going to talk about it because we got college football to do. So,
okay.
Going on to our next game, Stanford USC. Carter, we'll start with you.
So both teams are going to be potentially starting backup quarterbacks. USC is going to be starting a true freshman, and I think that's going to be the difference. Stanford's better athlete for athlete, and I just think they're straight up better. And I think they're going to win this game on the road. And I got Stanford.
Yeah, give me the nerds. I'm going to go with Stanford as well. The true freshman is what scares me for USC. Also, almost losing to Fresno State ain't a good look. At least Stanford got a nice win over a decent Big Ten school in Northwestern. So give me Stanford.
Stanford.
The defenses went crazy in that Stanford-Northwestern game, and I think this Stanford defense is just going to feast against this true freshman at USC. I'll take the Cardinal in the Coliseum.
Yeah, I'm going to feel really bad for that true freshman quarterback.
Some astute analysis by Aiden on that.
Do you want to hear more?
Not really, no.
So you're going to tell us about how
you're welcome.
The badminton team is going to affect
the water polo team.
Yeah,
that's the Pac-12 we're talking about.
Recreational badminton team.
Oh no! I was kidding.
Must I say more?
Everybody shut up for a second so we get this last game in for the break. All right. LSU, Texas.
Oh, we're going that one in this segment. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There's another big game. Don't worry.
I mean, I would have thrown them both in the next one, but all right. I'm going to go LSU athlete for athlete is the better team. Texas has one running back right now left because everybody's hurt. You're not going to be able to beat this LSU secondary if you're having to sit back in the pocket and throw the whole game. If you're Texas, you need your running backs, and you don't have your running backs. LSU wins, and I don't think it's going to be as close as people think.
Yeah, I see. I would want to pick Texas, but LSU got the defense. Defense wins championships, is how it is. And they do have who is the former and soon-to-be SEC Player of the Week, Joe Burrow,
Don't bring
at
that
quarterback. Yeah, I'm bringing it back. Joe Burrow, I believe in what Joe Burrow is putting out there, and I think he's a great quarterback. I would go on to say that Joe Burrow, after this weekend, will be a top 3 quarterback in the SEC.
When's the last time Texas has been on a big stage?
Usually all the time because it's Texas.
Well, I'm talking about
And they
Texas
did beat
OU,
Georgia.
When they
Texas,
beat Georgia.
Yeah, they beat Georgia. Yeah,
Texas OU twice last year.
yeah.
and had a good team to do it. Okay.
I mean,
They were good last year. They won 10
yeah.
games.
Didn't you see the website? They're back.
That time that they beat a terrible Notre Dame team, and
We thought they were back?
The ESPN
Yeah.
announcer yelled, "Texas is back," and they
2
go on
years
to go
ago
like
today.
5-7.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, that's the famous quote that just gets you resigned.
Texas is back, folks.
Aiden, Texas LSU before Carter does any more bad impressions.
LSU.
Going LSU. Jack?
I like LSU because this game is going to come down to the defensive backs with Texas trying to sling the ball around. And as we know, overconfidence is the downfall of teams. Texas manufactured DBU T-shirts directly to insult LSU. So I think that will be their downfall. I will take LSU on the road.
All right, with that being said, we're halfway through Pick'em. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we'll have the other Pick'ems. Clemson and A&M is on the other side. You're listening and watching Extra Point here on WEGL 9211 and Eagle Eye TV.
There are 250 miles of trails in Alabama state parks. That's 250 miles for you to hike, bike, and explore. And it's something we want to share with future generations. Help us improve these trails by becoming a partner in the Alabama State Parks Trail Program. To learn more about the importance of outdoor recreation and how you can help with the development and management of this new trail program, visit alapark.com or call 800-ALAPARK. Sponsored by the Alabama State Parks, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
The Army National Guard is committed to keeping the country safe and our communities secure. Composed of hundreds of thousands of citizen soldiers from all walks of life, the Guard is always ready to respond to local or national emergencies. We protect the homeland. We're always there when called upon, and in every state and territory, we stand guard for our communities. To learn more, log on to NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Selfless service is the guiding principle that drives Army National Guard soldiers to be always ready whenever disaster strikes. They are your next-door neighbors and your colleagues in schools, offices, and factories. To be a Guard soldier is to stand ready to serve at all times for family, for community, and for country. To learn more, log on to NationalGuard.com or contact an Army National Guard recruiter in your area.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
The skills you can develop as a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you an edge in the high-tech job market of tomorrow. The Guard offers career training to take advantage of your skills in science, technology, engineering, and math that can help give you a leg up to a high-paying and rewarding STEM profession. Get a head start on your career while earning money to pay for college. Log on to NationalGuard.com to learn about all of the STEM career opportunities in the Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Welcome back inside the studio, the Extra Point here on WEGL 911 and Eagle Eye TV. Jared Dillard, Carter Bird, Aiden Kowalski, and Jack Hart in the studio as we continue our pick'em as we're through the first 5 games and we got 5 more to go. Next up on the docket, Carter, you are up first. What Jack called the cage match of the SEC West. Arkansas,
Of the basement of
Ole
the SEC
Miss.
West.
You know, like that video on Twitter of the 2 clowns fighting on the basketball court.
I'm going to go. God, this game's going to be so bad.
Yeah.
This game's going to be so bad.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
But I don't know why I feel like Ole Miss might have better athletes and Rich Rod might figure out a way to score. So I'm going to take Ole Miss in what's a horrendous game where there's two terrible offenses playing two terrible defenses.
Okay, I'm gonna put Ole Miss with a question mark at the end of my Excel sheet. That's how it sounded from your mouth.
I'm going with Ole Miss.
Here's the thing: did Ole Miss lose to a good Memphis team? Yes, but here's the thing about Memphis: they don't have a good defense. So why Ole Miss only scored 10 points against Memphis, I do not know. So that means Ole Miss's Ole Miss's offense is extra bad. I know Arkansas.
But Arkansas's offense last year, their quarterback play was so bad.
It's true. And you're going to say, well, Jared, didn't Arkansas not only score 20 points against Portland State, but they gave up 13? And wouldn't Portland State be worse than Memphis? Yes, all those statements are correct. But I just don't believe in Ole Miss's ability to win at home against Arkansas.
Dude, it's literally a game that could, it could be 7-6 at the end, or it could be a shootout and be 52-45 at the end. Like, they could just literally not stop a soul because the Ole Miss defense is, to quote my Ole Miss buddy, a revolving door, and I don't think Arkansas is that much better.
Well, I'm going to go with Arkansas.
It's a battle of the worst in Oxford. There's no doubt about that. The Rebels, they finished with only winning 5 last year and are not even returning some of their key players. They're only going to get worse. I see Arkansas coming in to Oxford and winning it.
Wonder where he got that information.
Is that a problem?
Mississippi looked really bad last week, but they looked a lot better in the second half. Something clicked for Ole Miss after an abysmal first half in Memphis, and I think they'll continue that momentum at home against Arkansas. I like Ole Miss in a very sloppy and very close game.
How many points did Ole Miss score in the second half? Did they score in the first half?
I think they scored all of their points in the second half.
I don't know.
At least 12. At least 12 of them.
All right.
Was good.
Next game. This is gonna be a good one. West Virginia and Missouri is gonna be a very good game. I'm excited for it.
Carter, tell him why he's wrong, Carter.
It's not going to be a good one because West Virginia's offense is absolutely anemic now and is not going to put up any points. As bad as Mizzou's defense is, Mizzou's going to hang 40-something on them and beat them by 20. It's not going to be close.
It's not going to be close at all?
No, it's not. You watch. It's not. I promise.
I still think it'll be fun.
Put it on the whiteboard. I'm promising it.
Well, when we get the whiteboard set up in here.
Yeah. Carter picks Missouri.
I'm going to go Missouri as well.
It's the most confident game I have on this list right now.
That's your most confident?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go Missouri as well. Yeah, they lost on the road to Wyoming, and that sucks. But they're back at home. They get this West Virginia team that almost lost to James Madison. I thought James Madison was going to pull a doozy, but they didn't. But I'm going to take Missouri in this one. In the battle of former Big 12, well, I say former Big 12 schools.
No, that comes later.
Yeah. The battle of former, 8 and go.
Yeah. Go SEC, though. But, Carter, I'm not going to try to start a debate with you. I like Missouri.
I like Missouri because this game is going to be a track meet for sure. Two terrible defenses going at it, except Missouri has the advantage of actually having an offense. Kelly Bryant tossed for about 400 yards against Wyoming. It's just their defense couldn't hold things together. I look for him to toss even more against this West Virginia team.
Up next on the docket, Nebraska, Colorado.
This is the former Big 12 game.
And what's technically on paper a road game for Nebraska, but actually when you look at the split for the stadium is somehow a home game because Nebraska fans are going to Colorado and filling up 70% of the stadium on the projection. Nebraska's going to win this game. I mean, they're just better athletes. They have the offense. They're going to win this game.
Yeah, ever since Colorado went to the Pac-12 championship, it just seems like they've disappeared. And Nebraska looking good. I know last week there may have been a couple of issues, but I think they'll work it out. They go on the road. It's a big road statement win if they can just get it. And, yeah, is it a road statement win? Yeah, for Nebraska it is. They just got to win games right now. So I'm going to go with Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
Colorado, who? Yeah, that's my point. Nebraska, I like them.
That's a valid point at this stage after that Pac-12 championship game. I like Nebraska's defense. They have a very good secondary that's probably going to pick the ball right out of the air for Colorado, and I'll take Nebraska in Boulder as well.
Everybody hold on, because this is the game of the week right here. Tulane and Auburn. Yeah.
Really
Gotcha,
threw
Carter.
us for a loop there.
Yeah. Tulane and Auburn. Carter, go ahead and go.
Give us a score, Carter.
We're gonna win. Auburn's gonna win this game. I think the score is going to sit right on the line at about 35-17 Auburn. And Auburn fans are going to find a way to freak out about it, even though they shouldn't.
I'm going to take Auburn as well, but I'm a little bit more optimistic in that Auburn's going to completely shut down Tulane's running attack, and that Tulane's not going to score a lot of points. I'm going to go a nice 42-13 Auburn win at home.
See, I do like Auburn coming back after the Oregon game. Nick's first time, and Jordan Hare starting quarterback. I'm going to go with the score prediction. I think Tulane's going to maybe score one touchdown, then the rest are going to be field goals. It's going to be 26-13. Auburn takes it.
Wow.
I'm concerned about that score.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a
I like that score because
low-scoring
it accounts
output
for a lot of Auburn mistakes, which I think will happen. I think there will be a couple running back fumbles, maybe a muffed punt here and there. That's just what happens in Auburn home openers against Group of 5 schools.
Man, we are wishing bad things upon us.
Can I
I'm
quickly
just telling you what's going to happen.
Can I quickly change my score?
Go for it, Jared.
48-13.
All right.
Yeah.
Did you up it a little bit?
I did.
Look at you.
Because of what Aiden said, I upped it a little
Added
bit.
6 points.
Wait, hang on. How are you allowed to change your score prediction? I wasn't allowed to switch at the Missouri-Syracuse game.
Switching games is different. I'm just upping the
He
score
just
a little
added
bit.
2 field goals to Auburn's score.
Yeah.
Or a Joey Gatewood
touchdown
PAT
and
attempt. I think,
3 safeties.
as we talked about earlier in the show, I think that this Tulane team is definitely going to hang around. Carter's talked ad nauseum about how talented they are as a squad, and I think it's going to take a while for Auburn to pull away. I'm just a little more optimistic about our offensive prowess that Carter is, so I'll take Auburn 45-24.
Hey, so the 6 points is going to come from Auburn's extra point streak coming to an end. After I mentioned it today.
It's definitely gonna happen now. And when it happens,
hey, I just tried to double jinx it by mentioning that
that's
it's
not how
gonna
that
end.
works.
Just be glad this
it's
desk,
Auburn football.
Just
That's
be
not
glad
how that
this
works.
desk is made of wood.
Yeah. And finally, the last game. It is Texas A&M and Clemson. We won't pick it right now because we don't have enough time to go into deep discussion about that game. We only have like 2 minutes. Okay. But kind of just give me, Carter, you said this game was the, so to speak, tipping point for the SEC to just blow up the college football playoff.
I mean, it's the toughest one for the SEC to win or to play out in that scenario. I think that A&M is going to feel very disrespected by the fact that they are going to roll into Clemson as 18, 19-point dogs, and I think that's going to have an impact on the game.
Is that 18-point line? Are we? If you had to put some money on that, would you take it?
Hey, remember what happened last week with that 18-point line in Louisville?
Yeah, that one
That's
was
different. It's Louisville. Okay. And Notre Dame.
Honestly, it wouldn't shock me if this game just aren't a lot of points are scored, and I think that it's going to stay close because I don't think either team's going to separate all that much. So I think you would take A&M with the 18 points and the under in this game.
We will see. Let's head to a quick commercial break, and let's get our minds together, and then we'll come back strong with this last game in Pick'em before getting into some NFL news. The NFL season starts today. Packers and Bears. You're listening to The Extra Point on WGL 911 and Eagle Eye TV.
Young men just don't seem to listen to the radio anymore. They're too busy with their earpods and TV games.
It's iPods and video games?
Whatever. Point is, young men are probably not listening to me right now, but they will listen to you. So I need you to remind them to register with Selective Service when they turn 18. It's an easy way to keep the door open to important benefits like college loans and government jobs, and it's the law. So please feel free to remind them to go to sss.gov or any post office to register.
I heard that.
Hey, Russell Wilson here, and I know how important exercise is.
It's essential. It's essential.
With Play 60, United Way and the NFL are helping kids stay active and play at least 60 minutes a day.
Healthy kids. Healthy kids.
But what this place needs is you. To donate or volunteer, go to unitedway.org/play60 because great things happen when we live united.
Donate.
Are you guys going to do that every time?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course.
Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
This is the sound of salmonella gyrating on your undercooked chicken. And it looks like Mom might be taking it out a little early. Don't let salmonella get funky with your chicken. On average, 1 in 6 Americans will get a foodborne illness this year. So use a thermometer to cook each type of meat to the right temperature. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov. Brought to you by the USDA, HHS, and the Ad Council.
Grades, work, sports, bikinis. 18-year-old guys have a lot on their minds. Accidentally breaking the law probably isn't one of them. Yet that's exactly what young men will be doing if they fail to register with Selective Service. So if you know a guy turning 18, do him a favor. Remind him. Fortunately, it'll only take him a few minutes because that's all it takes to register at sss.gov. Then he can get back to his distractions. Homework. sss.gov. Register. It's the law.
Here trying to start a riot. Here trying to start a riot.
Welcome back inside the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 and Eagle Eye TV. Joining me in the studio, Carter Bird, Aiden Kowalski, and Jack Hart. One more game in the pick'em. We're going to try to break that three-way tie that we have. Up next, Clemson, Texas A&M. Carter, we're starting with you. Here we go. Clemson A&M. 18-point line that we have going here in favor of Clemson. What are you feeling? To keep the dream alive that you put together, A&M has to win.
All right, hey, that was a hypothetical scenario. I didn't say I thought it was going to actually play out that way. But based on the logic that I said before the break, I think that as 18-point dogs, Texas A&M is going to come in fired up. I don't think they have the offense firepower to really throw up a ton of points in this game. The over-unders at 64.5. I see Texas A&M covering the spread but losing, and being about 56 points scored in this game. 35-21 is my score.
In favor of Clemson?
Yes.
Gotcha. I'm going to pick Clemson as well, but I do think some crazy things will happen. I think that A&M will enter the half up. I think A&M will enter the half with the lead and then lose it. Because it feels like A&M thing to do.
21-14.
And then
A&M
B,
shut out in the second half.
And then B, I think A&M's going to come out fired up. I really do. But then Trevor Lawrence and the offense is going to just find that rhythm. Because we know, if you looked at the Georgia Tech game, yeah, Clemson won. But some people are looking at Trevor Lawrence's stat line as like, But it's Georgia Tech, first game of the season. It doesn't really matter if he looked great or not, right?
That's true. And if you look at his stats, he gets significantly better in big games.
Yes.
His numbers got way better when he knew that he had a tough challenge in front of him, and he torched people last year.
So I'll pick Clemson, and they'll probably win. I'm going to say they probably do cover that line, probably at the end of the day. Aiden?
I like that same pick. I just think they're going to go pedal to the metal the entire game. I don't think Texas A&M is going to really stand too much of a chance if Lawrence comes out and just balls out. So that's just my reasoning.
Jack?
I do think that line is disrespectful to A&M in the highest degree, but I do think Clemson escapes with a win because while Trevor Lawrence did show some mistakes in that Georgia Tech game, And unlike Georgia Tech, Texas A&M can actually make them pay for those mistakes. I do not see Trevor Lawrence making enough mistakes, and I think the only way that A&M wins is if not only Clemson has to make a mistake, first of all, which is looking more and more in doubt, they're going to have to capitalize on the mistakes, which I don't know if this kind of refreshed A&M team is going to be able to do in such a hostile environment. I will take Clemson as well, and don't be surprised if those pylon cams are turned off mysteriously.
That's pick 'em. I would say it's a little bit more diverse this time around
than the first week.
Yeah. Than the first week.
Well, the first week games were, pretty
Soft,
easy to
softball.
go chalk all the way through.
What we thought.
Well, we went 8-2. We were pretty much right.
Yeah.
But there were some.
Wait, hang on. That's not true. Most of us went 8.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, the first week's games, there weren't a lot of good games. While there aren't a ton of ranked matchups this week, there are only 2. The games are more evenly matched top to bottom.
Yeah, that's true. That is. So let's go ahead and just switch to the NFL. Let's go through some NFL news first. The Chiefs are favored to win the Super Bowl. That just came out. I don't think it's really surprising that the Chiefs' high-powered offense, coupled with their pretty decent defense, even though they lost a couple of key players, are favored to win the Super Bowl. Antonio Brown getting fined and then pretty much complaining about it when the Raiders fined him for not showing up to practice. And, Jack, you'll like this, Cam says he feels like a rookie again.
Oh, I thought you were going to tell me that AB has a new helmet.
Oh.
That's something to get excited
But
about.
in the bad news for the Panthers, Graham Gano is gone.
That's
Graham,
okay. Graham only won us 3 games last year.
Graham Boomenleg Gano gone for the season. It's IR, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
not going to be around for a while.
Yeah.
You don't use one of your 2 IR active spots to bring back a kicker that may or may not be the same at the end of the season.
That's true. So we'll see what happens with Graham Gano, but it's kind of the top big stories of the NFL right now. And another big story, my trade from yesterday went through in fantasy.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
It's so garbage.
So let's see. So Andy, who was on the show yesterday, Andy Hewling, Eagle Eye TV co-sports director, traded me Darius Geis and Devin Funches for C.J. Anderson and the Steelers defense.
One of the dumber fantasy trades I've ever seen.
Wow. You were very heated about this trade.
He got the backup running back for a team that's going to go 4-12 and is going to be behind in every game and have to air it out, and he can't even catch. and he traded away the guy who by midseason is going to take over the starting running back role for the Redskins and be a stud in the second half of the year, and the number 2 receiver for the Colts for the dadgum Steelers defense when he has the number 1 fantasy defense already on his team. It's atrocious. This man should be kicked out of the league for it.
Look. Wow. Look, I like the trade.
Yeah, of course you did, because your team got significantly better without having to give up anything that was really worth anything. And his reasoning that he made the trade because he likes C.J. Anderson, I think he forgot Carry-On was on there, because when I was like, why?
Well, to be fair,
it's Carry-On's backup.
The
next text was like, we might need to veto the trade.
To be fair, Carry-On has had a little bit of an injury bug the last couple of years. So C.J. Anderson may see a little bit of uptick. Now, you're right. The Lions are going to air it out because they'll be behind all the time.
Yeah, they're going to win 4. We're going to win 3 or 4 games this year.
Darius Geis, while a lot of us assume that he will be a stud in fantasy, is coming off a torn ACL. We'll see if he's the same. He should be the same. But we'll see. You never know. Torn ACL could happen again. Then Steelers defense, I don't know how you want to put that. Usually decent.
Yes, I think they're going to be a good defense, but they're not better than the Bears defense. Truly a mind-blowing trade.
And so some breaking news also just came through, so we got to handle this.
Goodness gracious.
And Carter, hold on, because this is gonna be around your fantasy team. Because you have Antonio Brown, right? The Raiders, Antonio Brown and GM Mike Mayock got into it on Wednesday, and the team now plans to suspend their wide receiver from Adam Schefter. And Jack just so happens to play Carter this week. and Carter just lost his wide receiver.
Maybe that
while
line's-
AJ Green is also on the bench because he's also hurt.
That line's moving
That's
again.
okay. Hey, we're gonna bump D.D. Westbrook up into the second receiver slot.
And who's
We're
your
gonna
flex?
Insert Matt Breida, who's starting for the 49ers this week, and we're gonna still scrape out a win because we're fine.
All right.
We're good.
So in that news, Antonio Brown may be suspended by the Raiders.
I'm sick and tired of this guy.
it doesn't currently right now. Let's see if we can get some more information. It doesn't say whether it's a game or a half right now. So let's see.
You know, his Instagram story is actually true because he said everybody's going to have to pay this year. Well, the Raiders are paying because now they have to suspend their number one receiver for the first game, and he's paying because now he's going to get fined even more
So
than
what did
the
he
40,000.
do? What did he do? And how many games is the suspension now for him?
Well,
It'll probably be one game.
Yeah, it's a team suspension, so it's
It'll
not like the
probably
NFL's
be
going to
a
do anything
game,
about it.
But
yeah.
but he was.
Are
so
they still
he was,
paying him?
He was fined for not showing up to training camp when he had his frostbite on his feet, and then also his helmet grievance that he came back and then left again. If you watched Hard Knocks, it was dumb. And then he finally came back again, and he looked like a stud in Hard Knocks 2 nights ago, and then now we have this stupid stuff.
I'm just gonna quote John Gruden and say that Antonio is exciting to be around, and I think that's about all you can say about him right now.
So let me read these 2 tweets from Adam Schefter. So the next chapter, Antonio Brown and GM Mike Mayock got into it on Wednesday, and the team is now planning to suspend the star wide receiver. League sources tell ESPN. Antonio Brown posted the fine letter on social media that Raiders GM Mike Mayock sent him. It led to an exchange, which is now leading to further discipline.
Do you
this
think
is not going anytime? This is not going anywhere. This is not going anywhere anytime soon.
So I have a question about that interaction between AB and Mayock. Do you think Mayock went to AB mad about him posting it on Instagram, or do you think AB went to Mayock mad about getting the letter at all? How do you think that played out?
Either Mayock went to him, or they just happened to run into each other and they just like posted up on each other and yeah.
I feel like AB is a man of action. I feel like that's the more likely of the two.
The second, the latter of his points.
But I like knowing Mayock and the comments that he's made about AB already in this fall camp, where like he was basically it's time to be all in or all out.
Yeah,
I could see him seeing that Instagram post and being like, "We need to go talk about this."
And Mayock seems like a no nonsense guy, which is what the Raiders need. They don't need all this circus.
They have
that's going
enough
on right
nonsense.
Now. Yeah, you know.
Besides making bad jokes on Hard Knocks about Hunter Renfro's singing ability.
Look, knock if you're with me, right? There you go.
Jack and Aiden are not with us.
They're not with us. Any other NFL news that we need to discuss before we start talking about the Packers Bears tonight?
Yeah, you know, with the Chiefs being favorites, I think their defense is going to be better than last year. Because I mean, it honestly can't be that much worse. But they have an absurd amount of weapons on offense, and they all complement each other. You have Travis Kelce, who's your guy that you're going to run across the middle, and he's going to make plays for Mahomes. You have the best quarterback in the NFL talent-wise right now. And then you have the fastest guy in the league with also combined the quarterback that can throw the football the farthest. So if he just throws the ball as far as humanly possible, Tyreek's going to run underneath it. And then you have Mecole Hardman and Sammy Watkins as your other 2 receivers that are – Sammy Watkins used to be a top 10 receiver in the league until he basically took the back seat to Tyreek. And then Mecole has insane speed as well. That's not even bringing up LaShawn McCoy, who they just signed. I mean, they almost have too many mouths to feed on the offense.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be sharing the load, especially that backfield. Wide receiver should be fine. Travis Kelce, my tight end, should be fine. Carter, just so you know, if you replace Antonio Brown with Breida from the 49ers, your line goes from 6.9 point favorite to 0.6 favorite.
Hey.
So it's on.
Jack's eating right now. He's coming.
It's amazing that things are playing out to make this, because 2 days ago it was not going to be that competitive according to the line, and then now it's separated by a hair. But you know, the Breida filters are going to overcome some adversity this weekend and get this dub.
How long does Antonio Brown survive in Oakland before before they're just like, you know what?
9 games until they dump him. They dump him to Buffalo.
Buffalo, where careers go to die. Gotcha.
I mean, truly. Cole Beasley and Frank Gore hanging out at the Buffalo Applebee's together, just waiting for sweet retirement.
Hey, shout out to that time that Marshawn Lynch said that he loves Buffalo because the people are so nice and he loves the food.
The Applebee's.
It's great. We're going to head to our final commercial break. And when we come back on the other side, we are talking NFL football, the first game of the season, Chicago, Green Bay to kick off the NFL's 100th year. You're listening and watching Extra Point here on WGL 911 and Eagle Eye TV.
We can take this outside.
There are 250 miles of trails in Alabama state parks. That's 250 miles for you to hike, bike, and explore. And it's something we want to share with future generations. Help us improve these trails by becoming a partner in the Alabama State Parks Trail Program. To learn more about the importance of outdoor recreation and how you can help with the development and management of this new trail program, visit alapark.com or call 800-ALAPARK. Sponsored by the Alabama State Parks, the Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
The Army National Guard is committed to keeping the country safe and our communities secure. Composed of hundreds of thousands of citizen soldiers from all walks of life, the Guard is always ready to respond to local or national emergencies. We protect the homeland. We're always there when called upon, and in every state and territory, we stand guard for our communities. To learn more, log on to NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Selfless service is the guiding principle that drives Army National Guard soldiers to be always ready whenever disaster strikes. They are your next-door neighbors and your colleagues in schools, offices, and factories. To be a Guard soldier is to stand ready to serve at all times for family, for community, and for country. To learn more, log on to NationalGuard.com or contact an Army National Guard recruiter in your area.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
The skills you can develop as a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you an edge in the high-tech job market of tomorrow. The Guard offers career training to take advantage of your skills in science, technology, engineering, and math that can help give you a leg up to a high-paying and rewarding STEM profession. Get a head start on your career while earning money to pay for college. Log on to NationalGuard.com to learn about all of the STEM career opportunities in the Army National Guard.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard. Aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Danger, I don't fit in on a stranger. Believer, I can take out all the evil.
Welcome back inside Extra Point here on WEGL 911 and Eagle Eye TV. Joining me in the studio for this final 15 minutes, Carter Bird, Aiden Kowalski, and Jack Hart, as we are talking NFL football, the start of NFL's 100th season. And it's the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers kicking it off in week 1, which is full of some pretty good games. As for those watching on the TV stream, you see Panthers, Rams, Chiefs, Jaguars. That should be a good one. The Browns, see what the Browns can do against the Titans at home. So yeah, I'm starting to feel a little bit excited for the NFL. I know a couple days ago I asked and said, does it feel like the NFL's going to start? Does it feel exciting? People were like, nah. But now I'm starting to feel a little bit. I'm getting there.
Here's something. The Browns have switched to those crazy brown and orange alternate jerseys full time.
Heck yeah.
The jersey, they got their first win in a calendar year in against the Jets last season.
You mean their color rush brown jerseys?
Yes. I was trying to avoid that term.
Yes. It's the best.
What's
Go
your favorite-
neon
what's your-
brown every time you can.
I don't mind that jersey as much. Jack, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't like it as much as the normal brown jersey, so I don't
Okay.
understand the choice, but it's whatever. It's Cleveland. I don't care.
It's
yeah.
Cleveland. It's Cleveland.
I
Is the better,
cannot
is
wait.
the better phrase to say with that.
I cannot wait to watch that team play the Titans, just because I know that they've got great speed rushers on the edge, and it's going to be very interesting to watch an extremely honestly extremely brittle Marcus Mariota and Ryan Tannehill try to take on, yes, that is me pretty much.
I'm about to say, yeah,
Mariota.
Mariota's
Mariota in for an injury by the third quarter.
Mariota's going to look like Hugh Freeze by the end of the game once Myles Garrett gets his hands on him.
And then you have they talked so much in the offseason. They're the most hyped team coming into the year. I cannot wait to see how that game is going to play out. And it's truly going to be a boom or bust year. Like, I'm starting to feel it more and more as we get close to
I haven't been able to get a read on Tennessee since they fired their coach after a playoff appearance. That's really the state of the Titans for the past 3 years.
They've definitely been in kind of a vacuum, it seems like, the past 3 years where they just can't exceed expectations and they haven't crashed yet.
I think the epitome of the Titans organization was their Super Bowl appearance where they were just 1 yard short. It seems that for their entire existence, they've been just 1 yard short of greatness.
I mean, their team highlight in history is the Music City Miracle that happened in, so many years ago in a playoff game, but it wasn't even, a big playoff game. You know what I'm saying?
Wasn't it to get to the Super Bowl?
It did rob the
the wild card game.
It did rob the Bills of 5 straight Super Bowls, so we can thank them for that.
That's true. It is true. But you said coming up short. The Bills going to 4 Super Bowls and not winning.
Mm-hmm.
That's coming up short. But let's talk about the Bears and the Packers. How about that? Aaron Rodgers needs to find a Aaron Rodgers does find a way to get the Packers back into it, but the Packers got to find a way to be competitive again. Because
the Packers' way of being competitive again is Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's about the only tool on their tool belt right now, and
they've got a good
is going to
O-line.
continue to be until the front office actually makes some moves.
This is the best defense Aaron Rodgers has had since being the starting quarterback for the Packers. And then you have Devontae Adams, who is a top 6 receiver in the NFL. And you've got a run game with Aaron Jones. Like, he's got a shot here to put up a huge year for the Packers. And the Packers, I wouldn't sleep on the Packers when it comes to winning that division. I think they're going to be much improved from last year. And I personally cannot wait to see this game because wasn't it first game last year? Aaron Rodgers
was Sunday Night Football
last
year.
Yeah.
And then he came back on basically a broken
Khalil Mack
foot.
took his head off.
He was basically playing with like a broken leg and just won the daggum game despite just literally barely being able to walk.
Mm-hmm.
The dude's a competitor. He's got a real offense now. They've opened it up, made it modern. New head coach who is going to let him be him, and I think you'll see that. And I think the Packers go in there and win this one.
From a fantasy perspective, does anybody have anybody going tonight?
I have Mitchell Trubisky. I also don't have Valdez Scantling, so I hope he doesn't do well at Javon. But I do have Trubisky as my quarterback, so I hope he at least doesn't throw a ton of interceptions and just rides his defense to a couple check down passes and some good points for my team.
I don't think I have anybody in this game.
I do not. Yeah, I'm saying.
Yeah, I have Devontae Adams, which is going to be big for me.
Yeah, that will be. I was just wondering the first game.
The
of
other
season, how it
games,
affects people.
The other games this weekend that I can't wait to see. I already talked about Titans Browns. I think that's gonna be a great game. I think Falcons Vikings is the sneaky best game of the weekend because the Falcons are healthy again. The Falcons were talented last year. Just literally the entire defense.
Exactly.
The entire defense got hurt in the first 2-3 weeks, and then they were just. I mean, that's why you go.
And
6
they weren't.
10.
I'm not going to say they were bad last year with all those injuries. They were just.
Well, they couldn't stop a soul because they had like 4 total DBs left on the team.
Yes.
The Vikings are very talented. We'll see if Kirk Cousins can build on an underwhelming year last year. I don't think he can.
And it's a home game for them.
But they are talented. They've got a good defense. That's going to be a really fun game to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And then other than that, just looking through it,
I think
Colts Chargers could be a sneaky game.
Don't do it to me. Don't do it to me.
Could be a sneaky game.
Don't do it to me.
It's not a home field advantage out in L.A.
It's not.
It's a neutral site game in the Chargers Stadium, and I think the Colts can compete.
it's a new era.
The Chargers
for
have the distraction of Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, it's
the
a new
Colts have a new quarterback.
It's
with
a new
contract.
it's a new era. We went from Peyton Manning to Thou Shall Not Be Named to Andrew Luck to the segment where Andrew Luck was hurt and Thou Shall Not Be Named, and then now it's Jacoby Brissett. So I believe that Jacoby Brissett has the weapons around him to be very, 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 very good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just hoping that he at least, honestly, I'm going to say right now, I don't care if the Colts even lose against the Chargers. I just want Jacoby Brissett to play well.
Yeah.
Fair.
That's all I want.
It's kind of how we felt about Auburn playing Oregon, huh?
Yeah, it's like, I don't care if Auburn loses. I just want you guys to play well.
Speaking of parallels to college, Detroit at Arizona is shades of Mississippi and Arkansas. This is an NFC basement cage match. What is going to happen when Kyler Murray takes the field for the Cardinals?
Well, let's ask Bren, as she has him and 3 other quarterbacks on her fantasy team.
She's playing chess, not checkers.
Yeah,
here.
she's playing some 3D chess right now.
So the only problem with that is I can't think of anybody that's going to put any pressure on Kyler
exactly
for the Lions. So, like,
carry on.
Yeah, he might run. Carry on's going to play defensive end.
Carry on's going to put pressure on him.
Hey, that might be an actual use for C.J. Anderson for Andy. He's big enough to play defensive end / tackle. I mean,
too bad Andy doesn't have the Lions defense.
And of course, the inescapable Dallas Cowboys 4:00 Fox game, because such is life on week 1.
It could be Sunday Night Football.
It could
I just
be worse.
can't wait to see Eli Manning with his always open mouth trying to take that afternoon drive into the sun in AT&T Stadium. It's going to be a beautiful sight.
One more thing.
I can't wait to see lots of shots of Daniel Jones on the bench.
Steelers Patriots going to be a huge game as well. It's going to be a great game. That might be the other best game of the weekend.
One more thing, and then we're going to get out of here. How long does Eli Manning last? How many games? Does he go the full season?
5.
8. Aiden?
I'm just going to be guessing. I'm going to say 7.
Oh, so you wanted to go right between 5 and 8?
That is a total. I mean,
I'm gonna go.
What's my reasoning? Come on.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 10 because around game number 10, the Giants will be out of the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. When things
and
snowball,
and that's when.
Speaking of out of the playoffs, what was ESPN on when they scheduled these Monday night games? I mean, good grief, who's gonna watch these?
You're talking about the same company
Saints
that put together the
Texans would be one that I would actually watch, but Browns Raiders. Now with Antonio Brown not in the game, nobody wants to watch Derek Carr try to throw the ball to Hunter Renfrow.
I'm ready to watch
15 times.
Joe Flacco sprain his knee trying to slide.
That is my backup quarterback on fantasy, Joe Flacco.
I mean, he's going to be sliding on that infield dirt, Jared. You better be careful.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us on the show. We'll be back tomorrow as Javon Cutler, Bay March, Jacob Hellman, and Andy will be joining me on the show. We'll talk a little bit more about fantasy and some college football. But thank you for Carter, Aiden, and Jack for joining me. Same time, same place. We will see you tomorrow. That does it for the Extra Point here on WEGL 91.1 FM and Eagle Eye TV. Want to watch more? Catch replays of the Extra Point on Eagle Eye TV by going to eagleeyeauburn.com. You can also go to WEGL 91.1 FM YouTube page for full replays. Want to listen more? We have you covered. Tune in to Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, or SoundCloud, and search WEGL 91.1 FM for more of the Extra Point and other sports content. Stay up to date with the latest news and sports by visiting WEGLFM.com. The Extra Point, bringing you the X's and O's from around the plains of Auburn and around the world of sports. Auburn's best sports talk radio show, Auburn's only sports talk TV show. Watch and listen live Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to noon. WEGL Sports, where every game lives.